were the magicians in Now You See Me wizards or what? It's a question that's haunted moviegoers for nearly a decade. John Chu, the director of Now You See Me 2, would have you believe our heroic trickster thieves are simply talented stage performers. Even if it is impossible for us to shoot on camera, we wanted the logistics and understanding of the trick to be possible. We're not saying hocus pocus magic exists. That was never our intention. But he did prove one type of magic exists: movie magic. The Now You See Me franchise came out of nowhere to hit over $700 million at the box office. Not really relevant to what I'm going to be talking about, but that segue was really good. Obviously, the magic tricks in these movies are exaggerated, and I accept most stupid movie explanations for things. All I'm asking is, within the bounds of this movie and its world, are they wizards? Let's get into the first film, Now You See Me, and the Four Horsemen, our protagonists. First up is J. Daniel Atlas, a sexy David Blaine-style street magician who's sexy and hot. His first trick is explained clearly in the film. He flips through a deck with multiple 7 of diamonds to draw the eye to them, then shows the same card is drawn in lights on the side of a skyscraper. He later reveals this was an electrician he bribed who somehow made individual rooms' lights turn on at angles that could form diamonds. Now that was an example of what I'm not going to be doing in this video. It's a simple trick that's explained clearly within the movie, and it included a cheap nitpick about something that was clearly just done to make the film more impressive and stylish. Both of these things I'll be mostly skipping. I'm not cinema sins. I'm here to find the truth. We're next introduced to Merritt Mckinney, a hypnotist who can instantly drop almost anyone into a deep sleep, using his parlor tricks to wipe memories and read minds. He is number 1 on my wizard watch list. In his first scene, he reads a man's facial cues to determine that he's cheating on his wife and who he's cheating with. This is surprisingly grounded in reality, with the magic consultant for the franchise, Keith Barry, having plenty of clips online of brain hacking people by detecting the word they're thinking of just from micro movements in their face.
I want you to think of a word that if I guessed it, you'd be convinced I was psychic. You've got a word in mind? No, I can't get it. I actually can't get it. Oh, I heard it right there. You said it louder. Oasis, oasis, oasis.
Oh, Jesus! I don't believe it. Oh my God, that's brilliant. You hacked my brain.
I hacked Michelle's brain. Ciao, ciao for now.
Scary.
Yes, Michelle, it is scary. The next horseman is Jack Wilder, Jesus Christ. Card-throwing savant and sleight-of-hand expert with an interest in magic crime. Dave Franco is charismatic, and Jesse Eisenberg and him should have swapped roles, but that's not relevant, and I'm not gonna say it in this video. Delete it! The final horseman is Henley Reeves, former assistant to J. Daniel Atlas and current shock magician. We're introduced to her with a simple underwater lock-picking trick, with the added caveat of a school of piranhas dangling above her. She fails to pick the lock in time and is eaten alive by piranhas. But then, the prestige. She's actually out in the crowd, certainly via some trap door or secret exit of some kind. Frame by frame, this is very suspect. We see her writhing in pain and the blood pooling. So were the piranhas fake? Or did she have a double, a twin sister who is willing to die to impress these 50 horny losers? At this point, Henley is under suspicion. These 4 magicians are gathered together to impress a secret order called the Eye, and the movie jumps ahead to the result of a year of planning together, the bank heist magic show. We join the horsemen just in time for the trick, the finale of their Las Vegas performance. We catch this mid-air high five from Jack and Merritt, and though this feat may look impossible to pull off at first glance, boosting the audio, you can hear their secret.
1, 2, 3.
The most bullshit part of the heist trick is when they reveal the teleporter. What is this magic blanket Henley threw, and how did the teleporter appear? It's wizard shit, for sure. They pull in someone from the crowd, get him to sign a card to leave in the vault, teleport him to the bank of his choice, suck all the money into the tube, and blast it onto the audience. It's actually not that complicated, and based on a real David Copperfield trick called Portal, though that trick did require the teleported man to be a plant. In this case, it's someone from the bank they stalked and planted suggestions that he should go to Vegas. Sus alert! The biggest witchcraft red flag in the plan for me is during the setup when they have to hijack a truck on its way to the bank and Merritt chi blasts a truck guard to knock him out, with us given the explanation that the truck driver is just dumb.
And despite what the banks would have you believe, the men who drive these trucks are not exactly mental giants.
A look from Merritt is all it takes. There is obviously no precedent for this in the wildest interpretations of hypnosis. We can tell it's impossible because we also look at his face and we don't fall asleep. Although maybe that's just because the film is an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride for all ages. The man is a wizard and should be treated as such for the rest of these films. Next, we meet Dylan, the FBI investigator following the Horsemen and interrogating them. We see Henley doing this cool chair spin, which, just give me a second actually. We also learn Merritt can hypnotize people over the phone and get a taste of his trademark transphobic sense of humor.
I'm really sorry about this whole Tranny Tuesday thing. I was out of line.
Tranny Tuesday.
No shame, Agent Fuller. No shame. Just having fun.
I'm not. Before the next magic show, we're introduced to two characters played by the default old guys of Hollywood. Thaddeus Bradley, magic debunker, and Arthur Tressler, the money behind the Horsemen and the most earnest slow clapper in the last 20 years of cinema.
Bravo, Mr. Bradley.
At the New Orleans performance, we get a taste of Jack's card-throwing ability. It may look impossible, but what's so cool about this is that Dave Franco is actually just okay at throwing cards in real life. People can definitely do this stuff though, although it's usually after like 15 tries. The big finale of this one is giving everyone in the audience Tressler's money because his insurance company denied them their insurance claims after Hurricane Katrina. They reveal the changing bank balances by shining lights on the paper, which I guess is possible by using different kinds of invisible ink that reveal or vanish when exposed to heat? It's not clear how they got the whole crowd's bank account information, though, but I consider it within the scope of this movie's year of planning, super smart, whatever. When Dylan yells freeze as the Horsemen are getting away, it triggers the audience members Merritt hypnotized earlier in the show to jump to action. Though stage hypnotism isn't known to push you too far outside your moral compass, like how most of those people wouldn't tackle a cop, it doesn't matter because we just watched Merritt knock someone out with a chi blast. He can do whatever. We're deep in the action now, with the Horsemen on the run from the FBI, and we arrive at the scene that cemented this movie as a worm in my brain for the next 7 years. The magic fight scene. Dylan corners Jack in the Horseman hideout, and Jack calls off the other FBI members by doing a perfect impression of Dylan.
You little shit. You little shit. What game you playing? What game you playing? We're all good at 6, move to 7.
Copy that. Go to 7. Go.
Stupid for sure, but not impossible. Then he starts throwing fireballs. I don't know. This guy can do it. He probably just threw flash paper. Maybe even the fake Euros we saw earlier as part of the heist. Next, Jack sleight of hands the fire poker out of Dylan's grip and then banishes it. It kind of happens off screen, so he could have thrown it somewhere, but come on. Then Dylan kicks him into the curtain and he disappears. I am not gonna get into it every time these fuckers disappear though, because they do it a lot. They're just good at crawling around on the floor, I guess. That scene was aggravatingly dumb when I first saw it, but rewatching it, it's fun. It's ridiculous, but it feels at least original. During his escape, they fake Jack's death in a way that really doesn't involve much magic, just a stupid amount of planning. Like driving a city bus with a decoy car hitched to the front with a cadaver inside. A cadaver they stole from the morgue. They choose not to get into the morality of this. Hopefully, he was a fan. For the Horsemen's grand finale, they stun a CGI crowd with CGI projections. What does irk me about these movies is they're asking me to wonder how these tricks were done, when the answer is always CGI. Projecting a hollow effect on the side of the building is possible, but it can only look real if the viewer looks at it from a specific point of view, like the stereoscopic 3D on a 3DS. And it sure doesn't work on walls covered in graffiti. But again, to me, fake tech isn't the same as in-world magic. They seem to teleport before running off the building and turning into money. But I assume that those horsemen were just holograms the whole time. And if that's not feasible to you, remember the Tupac hologram was in 2012, a year before this movie came out. So, feel old yet? In the end, they pin the heist stuff on Thaddeus, and Dylan turns out to have been a magician working with the eye the entire movie. It's one of the craziest twists of all time. Every chase scene we watched was him playing pretend, and he was performing to no one, but we're not talking about that here. So, the verdict so far, one film in. J. Daniel Atlas, regular human. Jack, probably a regular human. Henley, humanoid blanket bender. Merritt, so clearly a wizard it made me have to reevaluate if this video was even worth doing. Now You See Me 2 introduces us to the new horseman Lula May, replacing Henley. She breaks into J. Daniel Atlas's secret hideout and sets up a Rube Goldberg machine that culminates in her head getting chopped off. My mind once again went to identical twin willing to die to impress a horny loser, but to the movie's credit, they did this effect mostly practically. It required a fake couch that Lula's body could slide down and through, with her neck sticking out of a slit in the side. Did she really do a major mod to J. Daniel Atlas's couch while he was discussing future product placement with Shake Shack? I'm getting big wizard vibes from this girl already. Now this zoom through the table is ridiculous. That's impossible. The gang's first big con in the sequel is exposing the evil phone company Okta for stealing their users' data. Jack, who's still in hiding, poses as a security guard and confiscates a banana. Cool trick, right? Well, visual effects studio Framestore published an article about their work on this movie and listed the banana disappearing as one of their many computerized effects. It's way too big for his sleeve anyway. Jack's first trick of the movie is inexplicable. J. Daniel Atlas quickly switches between a number of characters for the con. Most are simple, practical costume changes. He also has some nifty shoe changers, but was he really gonna get found out because his shoes were the wrong color? Sorry for nitpicking. All this is explained fine by some smart trick items, except for his final costume change from suit to janitor suit. We watch his shoes change color. There's no hiding what he does. It happens in one frame before our very eyes. Gotcha, J. Daniel Atlas, or should I say, Shoe Wizard. Merrick's role in the con is to mystify the CEO of Okta with the power of white rap.
I feel from your face you're freaked by the flow of blood, which is fully fixable in a snap.
Again, wizard doing wizard shit. There are hypnotists who can do this stuff, but not completely against the target's will. Finally, the horsemen reveal themselves by jumping out of the massive screens on stage. And I don't know what the hell happened there. But things go south. A new figure exposes Jack as alive and Dylan as a magician, and the horsemen have to make a run for it. They head to their backup escape tube, but instead of landing in an escape truck like they planned, they land in Macau, China. The explanation for how this happened is actually really interesting. Basically, China has a lot of people in it, and the studio wanted to make a lot of money in China by having the movie be set in China. Cool, huh? We meet Merrick's evil twin brother, Chase, a fellow hypnotist whose tactics are a bit more prop-based, Carrot Top-esque in both strategy and hair. Turns out, the horsemen have been brought here by Daniel Radcliffe's Walter Mabry, who I will be making zero wizard jokes about. He reveals the tube thing was actually a result of binaural blah blah science crap. He knocked them out and flew him to China and dropped him in a different tube. Mabry threatens to kill them if they can't steal a microchip for him from a secure vault. It's the size of a playing card, so this leads to a sequence of the horsemen throwing around a card with the chip attached to it while they're being frisked. Some of the throws are surprisingly authentic and even feasible according to some real magicians, except...
So this is all horseshit.
That was
this throw is horseshit.
Yeah.
These two also claim the idea of manipulating a card so accurately through your sleeve and around your clothes is impossible. Looks like this is more clothes-based magic from J. Daniel Atlas. The scene culminates in Merrick performing a bounce throw through the metal detector. Is the bounce throw a real technique? Yeah, I guess. Thaddeus and Dylan head to China working together to find the horsemen. However, while investigating an old magic shop, Thaddeus slips into a trick sarcophagus and gets away. What the fuck? We know Dylan is a master magician at this point. He has to know how these work, and it's not that the person actually disappears. Or if that is how it works, why don't you just hop in the sarcophagus and you'll get teleported to the same place he got teleported to? How is this how Thaddeus gets away in the movie? Fuck! Sorry. Not the point. The big finale of the movie in London is very goofy but explained mostly neatly. The horsemen are performing street magic shows all over town to get the attention of Mabry, who turned out to be Arthur Tressler's son, by the way. Jack performs a perfectly reasonable 3-card Monty routine with doubles and trapdoors, but when the jig is up, he simply disappears into a hail of playing cards. No trapdoors, no room to the side for him to run off. Framestore claims they were instructed to make sure he was completely covered in cards for a few frames to sell the disappearance as reasonable, but I was not sold. Meanwhile, J. Daniel Atlas uses strobe lights and rain machines to give the illusion of controlling rainwater, something he claims to be more powerful than the Christian God for doing.
Can God do that? No, I don't think so.
When the cops come for him, he falls backwards and disappears into his clothes. Yet another piece of clothing witchcraft from Mr. J. Daniel Atlas. Lula does some dove stuff. I guess she could have bought a lot of doves. And then she runs away at the end, as you or I would have done. The reason the jig gets up in the first place, and why they all have to run off, is Merrick is stopped by his brother, Chase, who reads Merrick and discovers the location of their final performance. Then Merrick calls Dylan, Dylan calls everyone, and they all stop doing their routines and run. But later, when the Horseman's full plan is revealed, we find out Jack mystified Chase with the power of white rap immediately after that interaction, while he was on the other side of town doing his performance, before he could have possibly gotten the call about the jig being up. He was in two places at once. So boom, wizard. Gotcha! Also, the Horsemen are all yelling at each other with no one around, asking what went wrong when they meet up, even though later on, when the big plan is revealed, they say this was all exactly what they wanted. Okay, fuck it, we're CinemaSinsing this shit. Dylan is working with an Interpol agent for the whole first film because the Horsemen's crimes are international, except Interpol does not have field agents and that woman wouldn't exist. The ending of the first movie flies through keys at the bottom of the Panda art, where lovers lock a padlock with their name on it and throw the key into the water to symbolize their love. But all of these keys are American-style house keys and not the type that would be on a padlock in France. The Horsemen get Tressler's password for the New Orleans show by tricking him into revealing the answers to his security questions. Does that make it not fraud? How do those transactions stand? Why does J. Daniel Atlas say, "Guess you lost some weight," when he catches Henley at the New Orleans show? Had they not rehearsed it? Why does J. Daniel Atlas's suit make clown shoe noises when the guard in the vault pats him down? J. Daniel Atlas's tray changes between shots here, from a regular tray to the one that can maybe transform into a briefcase. And during the London finale of 2, hate to say it, but that crowd isn't screaming in a British accent. Sorry, I had to get that out of my system. Now, where do these fuckers stand when all is said and done? J. Daniel Atlas, clothing wizard. Jack Wilder, card/banana wizard. Merritt Mckinney, fuck off. Lula May, crafty human. Thaddeus Bradley, maybe the greatest wizard of them all. So, we're the magicians and now you see me wizards. Yep. Is this your card?